Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and a very good evening. Welcome to Primetime Asia. Tonight we'll provide you with some of the Asia-Pacific's latest scenes in the area of political response to terrorism, scientific achievements, educational ventures, as well as cultural showcases. And leading our Primetime Asia this week, over 30 people died after Taiwanese Trans-Asia GE235 plane with 58 passengers and crew on board crashed into a river in Taiwan. And Japan fulfills its responsibility in the international fight against terrorism. Meanwhile, India successfully test-fired for a third time a nuclear-capable missile that could reach Beijing and Eastern Europe. Here's Frankie Chan with the reports.
A commercial plane operated by Trans-Asia Airways, a private Taiwanese airline, turned on its side in mid-air, clipped a bridge and hit a taxi and careened onto a river with 58 people on board. Rescuers pulled out people and bodies from the mostly sunken fuselage with more than 30 people killed. The flight went down shortly after takeoff from Taipei's downtown Zhongshan Airport and was heading to the outlying Taiwanese-controlled Kinmen Islands. Most of the passengers were from mainland China. Television footage showed passengers wearing life jackets wading and swimming clear of the river. Emergency rescue officials in inflatable boats crowded around the partially submerged fuselage lying on its side in the river, trying to help those on board. Aeronautics Authority reported many people had been rescued, meaning as many were still missing. Other Taiwanese government authorities said the plane was carrying 58 passengers and crew, including 31 tourists from mainland China. The weather appeared to be clear when the plane took off. Television pictures also showed some damage to a bridge next to the river, with small pieces of the aircraft shattered along the road. The crash landing is the latest in a string of mishaps to hit Asian carriers in the past 12 months. An AirAsia jet bound for Singapore crashed soon after taking off from the Indonesian city of Surabaya on the 28th of December last year, killing all 162 people on board. And in July, a Trans-Asia Airways crashed into homes on the island of Penghu in the Taiwan Strait, west of the Taiwanese capital, killing 48 people, while 10 passengers survived. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has expressed strong indignation over the apparent killing of a Jordanian military pilot by the Islamic State militant group. Prime Minister Abe issued a statement after the release of images online purporting to show the killing of the Jordanian pilot Muaz Kasabe. Later at the lower house committee meeting, Prime Minister Abe said he cannot find the words to describe the suffering Kasabe's family must feel. He ordered his condolences on behalf of the Japanese government and its people. He said Japan stands in solidarity with the Jordanian government and people at this difficult time. Japan's foreign ministry is stepping up alerts for Japanese nationals abroad to ensure their safety. Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs Kazuki Kanaki will lead a panel to better inform Japanese travelers of conflicts and terror attacks overseas. The team will also look at ways to confirm the whereabouts of Japanese nationals overseas. Kenji Jeto, one of the captives believed to have been killed by the militants, had written 5 books on children living in conflict areas in Africa and Asia. After the incident took place, people across Japan are buying their books. All his books are out of stock in some bookstores in Tokyo, and people are waiting to take out his books in some libraries. Joto says in his works that children are the only hope in conflict areas. A publishing official says he wants to pass down to children what Kenji Joto wanted to share with people. Meanwhile, Prime Minister of Japan Shinzo Abe has denounced as heinous and despicable the apparent beheading of a second Japanese hostage by the IS group, as global leaders denounced jihadists. He said Japan would not give in to terrorism and that he would expand his support to countries fighting IS. IS claimed in the video released online recently it had killed 47-year-old Kenji Joto, the second beheading of a Japanese hostage in a week. Joto, a respected war correspondent, is seen in an orange outfit similar to those worn by Guantanamo Bay inmates, kneeling next to a standing masked man dressed head to toe in black with his face covered. The man, who speaks with a British accent, appears to be the same IS militant who has featured in previous execution videos. Shinzo Abe said Japan would not give in to terrorism and that his country would work with international partners to bring those responsible for Johto's apparent killing to justice. The jihadist group cited Japanese aid as a reason for the hostage-taking. The Japanese government had put high priority in seeking the release of Johto, captured by the militants in late October when he went to Syria seeking Haruno Yakawa's release. India successfully test-fired for a third time a nuclear-capable missile that can reach Beijing and Eastern Europe, bringing a step closer production of a weapon designed to strengthen its nuclear deterrent. Footage showed the Agni V rocket with a range of more than 5,000 kilometers blasting off from an island of Odisha. It was not immediately clear how far the rocket flew from reaching its target in the Indian Ocean. This was the third development trial of the surface-to-surface missile. The first test was conducted on the 19th of April 2012 and the second test on the 15th of September 2013 from the same base. All the UN Security Council permanent members, China, France, Russia, the United States and Britain, along with Israel, are believed to have such long-range weapons. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi and the India's External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj have met in Beijing to discuss bilateral regional and global issues. Mr. Swaraj's visit to China was very important and the trip was achieved through success. She said the two countries both uphold independent foreign policy, adding that developing good relations with neighbors is high on both countries' diplomatic agenda. Mr. Wang Yi said China appreciates the strategic partnership with India and ready to work with India to advance relationship and be good neighbors, enjoying harmonious coexistence and pursuing common development, peace and prosperity. Meanwhile, for her part, the Indian Foreign Minister said she exchanged views with Mr. Wang in an in-depth manner and in a good atmosphere. She added discussion on trade and security issues have deepened mutual trust and understanding. When Pakistani Taliban militants stormed a Peshawar school and massacred 150 children and teachers at the end of last year, nobody could fight back. And now a group of female teachers in the region want to change that and have been practicing how to use guns and potentially shoot attackers. Government authorities in Pakistan's northwest frontier have given permission for teachers to carry concealed firearms in response to the 16 December attack in Peshawar that became one of the deadliest militant attacks in Pakistani history. Many educators reject the idea of arming teachers as reckless and counterproductive, reflecting the kind of arguments in US school systems overshadowed by their own occasional mass shootings. But now, for some teachers, going to work unarmed no longer feels like an option. A group of 11 female teachers at the Frontier College for Women in Peshawar are taking pride in their newfound marksmanship with handguns and plan to carry them to help protect their students. At least 2 people died and several others injured in an explosion at a shopping mall in Perth, Western Australia, thought to have been caused by an electrical transformer. Police said a 30-year-old man died at the scene, while 3 other men were taken to hospital with serious injuries. Tragically, one of the 3 men taken to hospital has since passed away. Witnesses spoke of their horror at seeing the men, thought to be working in an area near the electrical transformer, come out running after the morning explosion. Other witnesses thought at first a car had exploded. A woman who suffered smoke inhalation was taken to hospital, while several other people were treated for shock and some inhalation at the scene at the Galleria shopping centre in the Perth suburb of Woolloomooloo. Bangladesh has ordered an inquiry into a plastic factory fire which killed 13 workers, the latest in a series of accidents that have highlighting appalling conditions in the country's workplaces. A 5-man government team will investigate whether the multi-story factory in the Dhaka suburb of Mirpur had a proper operating license, fire equipment and statutory safety features. Police and fire officers believe the fire started when gas cylinders exploded in the boiler room and then raced through the 4-story building in minutes. The walls of the factory collapsed due to the explosion. 3 workers are critically ill in hospital with burns. A total of 13 victims who died were burnt to death or suffocated after they were trapped on the upper floors. More than a dozen people suffered minor burns. Factory fires are common in Bangladesh, where safety conditions are often poor. In 2012, 112 workers died in the factory just outside Dhaka. The country even suffered greater tragedy in 2013 when a garment factory complex collapsed on the outskirts of the Bangladeshi capital, killing more than 1,000 people.
Welcome back. Thousands of pro-democracy demonstrators marched through the streets of Hong Kong this week in the first major rally since mass protests last year. Doctors in Shanghai have performed an aortic valve replacement surgery using 3D printing technology. And the International Snow Sculpture Contest opens in China's Jilin province. And later in the program, a teddy bear exhibition opens in Beijing. And in Hokkaido, a sparkling diamond dust was observed in Baytown. Stay on for full reports with Frankie Chan.
Thousands of pro-democracy demonstrators marched through the streets of Hong Kong in the first major rally since mass protests last year. Last year's demonstrations were sparked by the Chinese government's decision that candidates in the 2017 election for Hong Kong chief executive need to be vetted by a largely Beijing-controlled nominating group. The final election plan has to be approved by a two-thirds majority in Hong Kong's Legislative Council before submitting to authorities in Beijing. But pro-democracy legislators who hold 40% of the seats have said they would veto the proposal if it sticks with Beijing's decision to screen all candidates in the election. Doctors in Shanghai have recently finished the country's first aortic valve replacement surgery on a 77-year-old woman with the assistance of 3D printing technology. Doctors with the Fudan University-affiliated Zhongshan Hospital printed a model of the woman's heart prior to the procedure, allowing them to better prepare for the operation. The patient has recovered well after the operation. Using images taken from a CT scan and ultrasonic data of Cheng's heart, doctors were able to create and print a 3D model of the organ equal to its actual size. And the cost of such a model is about 100 yuan. Previously, the normal aortic valve replacement surgery usually needs to open the chest and thus bring big trauma to the patient. But with the heart model, doctors can accurately find the lesion location and therefore relieve the patient's pain and also cut the operation time. The clinic use of 3D printing has become normal in orthopedics and dentistry, but the usage of such technology has just started off in heart surgery.
Once we get into the aorta.
China's design specification standards have high-speed rails was set to go into effect this week. The standards, which define the construction standards for high-speed railways and intercity high-speed rails for the first time, lower the investment barrier for local governments and social capital. China's State Council in 2014 declared to open intercity railways ownership and the right of management to local and social capital. But much private funding has been seen as the investment involves large volume and the standards were not clarified. The new standards stipulate that the rights of approval and review to the intercity high-speed rails, which were designed with speeds of less than 200 km per hour, will be handed over to provisional governments and the construction cost will be reduced. The 29th edition of the Sukrakund International Craft Fair has been officiated by Haryana Chief Minister Manmohan Lal Khattar. 18 nations are taking part in the 15-day event. It is the theme state for this year. Sukrakund International Crafts Mela not only showcases the finest handicrafts but also offers a peek through into the Indian tradition and culture. One of the most awaited events for craft lovers, the 29th Sukrakund International Crafts Mela kicked off tomorrow. The fair was jointly officiated by Haryana Chief Minister Manmohan Lal Khattar and the Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Raman Singh. The fair is an annual event which reflects and promotes the rich and diverse cultural and artistic heritage of India. The fair will see participation from 18 countries. Lebanon, the partner nation this year, will unveil its ancient heritage of creating crafts and style, while the Chattangarash will be showcasing its unique culture and historical heritage in an impressive manner. An emerging international snow sculpture contest at the 2015 Changbaishan Snow Festival in northeast China's Jilin province, with participants of 13 teams from 11 countries, including China, Canada and Finland. Snow sculptors were asked to carve a snow block which is 3 meters long, 3 meters wide and 3.5 meters high. And this contest is themed with fairy tale world, comic world and future world. Judges of the contest will evaluate snow sculpture works at 4 aspects, namely originality, sculpture techniques, structure and artistic effect. It's the first time that the Changbaishan Snow Festival held an international snow sculpture contest. The Changbaishan Snow Festival started on the 1st of November 2014 and will last to April 2015. An ice and snow carnival will also be held during the festival to present tourists with various snow-related activities. The Tobu Zoo in Saitama, northwest of Japan, released video this week showing its 4 newest inhabitants, 4 rare white tiger cubs. Now, these cubs are the offspring of equally rare white tigers, Rocky and Carla. White tigers, which are believed to be Bengal tigers with a pigmentation variation, are very rare in the wild as they fail to blend in with the fauna around. They are believed to be about 100 to 200 white tigers worldwide. Most white tigers, like those in Japan, can be found in zoos. Japan alone has a population of 30 captive white tigers. Now, the cubs at Tobu Zoo, who have been separated from the father for the initial weaning period, have yet to be named or shown to the public. The zoo expects this will happen sometime in April at the earliest. A wide variety of teddy bears are displayed in an exhibition opening in Beijing, marking the 111th anniversary of the world-famous soft toy. Now, this exhibition is held inside a shopping mall and displays a limited edition of teddy bear from the South Korean Teddy Bear Museum and other parts of the world. China's largest handmade teddy bear, as tall as 6 meters, attracted much attention. The exhibition will last for 50 days. And a sparkling weather phenomenon called diamond dust was observed in Bie Town, Hokkaido. This phenomenon occurs when water vapor in the atmosphere freezes and creates small ice particles that float in the air and reflect sunlight. On Wednesday morning, the phenomenon was observed in Bie at around 7 a.m. The temperatures marked 25 degrees Celsius, a record low of the winter. Dozens of people were taking photos of this view. A tourist from Singapore said she is impressed by the beautiful view, while another visitor said it is the first time he has seen the phenomenon.
And that concludes this week's edition of Primetime Asia. Till we meet again with more interesting news next week. To watch more on our Primetime Asia portal video, you can visit our website at www.rtbnews.rtb.gov.bn. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and wishing you all a pleasant week ahead, and good night.